This is a original World War II U.S. Army enlisted man's visor cap that has been modified into a crusher cap. It's not a true crusher cap, according to some collectors, because it's not made by Bancroft. It's not a Bancroft fighter or other hats like that that also have the bendable leather bill. This is a hard leather bill. But if you want to get technical, a true crusher cap is how they were first used, or how they were first made. By simply removing the stiffener ring in the visor caps, pilots and aircrew, it droops the sides down and gives the hat a distinct look. And it also allows them to wear their headsets over the visor caps, which, you'll see in movies. You think that's how they wore them into combat and stuff, when pretty much they were always in full flak gear when they were in combat. Hardly ever did they wear them like this in combat. Flying stateside, or in training flights, they might have worn them like this, but definitely not in combat. Anyway, so this is a nice condition, virtually no damage, no mothing. World War II enlisted man's visor cap. The eagle's a little turned to the side for some reason. That's how I bought it. So probably leave it like that unless it bothers me too much. But there's also two staples into the front here. I think it's how it was made to connect the front. It hasn't been repaired surely, but you can't tell when you're wearing it with a chin strap like that. So whatever. It has the back chin strap, which was preferred by Army Air Force soldiers, airmen. Let's go ahead and turn it over here. As you can see, good condition. Here's the only spot of damage, some thread loss over here in the corner, which is extremely common for old visor caps. It's got some tissue paper in here for some reason. Made in the USA, no brand name. So I'm thinking this is private purchase, but it could have been his issued hat. I highly doubt it, but I think it's private purchase. There's no name tag, but there is a story connected to this item that we'll talk about. Pretty much done with the hat here now. Now, of course, you always buy the item, not the story. And I bought it for the item. I bought it for the story, actually, but I paid, not a bad price for the item, so it really doesn't matter. Anyway, the seller said he purchased it from the family, and they said that a man named J Kocsis was shot down over Italy in World War II. And that's what he put in the description. So, I looked him up. I looked up J Kocsis, USAAF. And there's only one J Kocsis that was in the Army Air Force that I have records of. Now, he was listed on an accident report website that has lists of airplane accident reports. And it was listed J Kocsis, Staff Sergeant, had his serial number, and it said KIA on March 18th, 1945, in an A-20g Havoc light bomber. Now, I told him nowhere about the location of where he was shot down, which means the seller never would have known that he was shot down in Italy. And so I ordered the accident report from him and asked him where he was shot down. They said Italy. So I ordered this accident report, and it's pretty much undeniable proof that this was his hat. But it's not good enough for some people. It's not named to him, unfortunately. So it's good enough for me. Might not be good enough for some people, but anyway. So this is the accident report. They took off from Grosseto, Italy, on a mission to Zone 5. We'll talk about that in a second. They're part of the 47th Bomb Group, 47th Bomb Group, 855th, that's 85th Squadron of the 12th Air Force. Visibility was restricted by haze, 3 to 4 miles. March 18th, 1945, so very late in the war in Germany. As you can see here, there's check marks or checklists for what took the aircraft down. They have enemy aircraft, enemy anti-aircraft, and other circumstances as follows. They didn't know what happened to the airplane, so it's unknown. It was an A-20g bomber, serial number, right there. So it talks about the weapons on the reverse of this paper. So here are the crew members. Pilot Robert V. Smith, First Lieutenant. Louis J. Kocsis, Staff Sergeant, Gunner. And Gunner Peter W. Selman, also Staff Sergeant. As you can see, they're all listed as MIA. So, as you can see, there's no really important information up here. This is the weapons that were on board the aircraft. And mostly it looks like 50 caliber machine guns. A bunch of twin mounted ones and tunnel on those. And there's also, it says a Savage. I have no idea what a Savage is. I've tried to look it up, but can't find anything on a Savage. So I'm going to try to post that on the U.S. military forum, see if they know what that is, but who knows what that could be. It lists all their serial numbers, which is pretty interesting. So, here's the interesting part. This is a statement written up by the Charles W. something, I can't read his last name, Captain of the Air Corps. So here's a statement. On the night of March 18th, 1945, First Lieutenant Robert V. Smith, pilot, Staff Sergeant Louis J. Kocsis, gunner, and Gunner Peter W. Selman, Staff Sergeant, were scheduled on a night intruder mission in aircraft number 439616. Lieutenant R.V. Smith took off at 2300 hours on a flight of 3-hour duration. Although his aircraft carried a sufficient supply of fuel for a 6-hour flight, no word was received either through the tower or through sector control concerning his whereabouts after takeoff. The aircraft and crew members are considered missing in action. So they took off on a night intruder mission, which is very unique. Night intruder, you never really hear much about night intruder or night fighter missions in World War II. So a night intruder mission was basically they would fly into enemy territory, basically on seek and destroy, searching for enemy aircraft, troops, anything they could shoot at. And so, it took off into the darkness. They lost radio contact right off the bat. Really odd. And they never found the aircraft. So these people were never seen again. Pretty sad to think about that. Now, getting back to Zone 5, where they went, there's not really any interesting information here, just a bunch of bullshit, really. Here's the family members of the crew. Lieutenant Smith's father, Kocsis' mother, and Peter Selman's wife were the notified next of kin. So this is Zone 5 in Italy, and I don't know what in the fuck happened to this copy of the map. This is how the actual original looks too. So can't really see anything. Here's a few cities it looks like, but who really knows what brought them down? So, very interesting visor cap or crusher cap from a World War II Army Air Force gunner in a A-20g light bomber that conducted night fighter operations in World War II. Now, of course, this might not be good enough proof for some people that this was his hat, which you can never fully prove that since it doesn't have his name in it. But there was no way the seller knew about being shot down in Italy because it was nowhere online. And so I truly believe, he bought it from the family, and that's what they said happened to him. And, he just put it in the description, You can never really trust a seller with their stories, but he didn't really have much of a story until I found this piece of paper. So that's good enough for me. I paid $60 for this visor cap on eBay shipped, which is a little on the high side for just a visor cap, but still, with this province, it's good enough for me. I think it was his visor cap, whatever. Very interesting. That's all for now.